right dab in the middle of that, actually a little bit past, but we're in Joseph. Now, Joseph is Jacob's son. And if you recall, he was quick to rush and tell his brothers, like, hey, I had a dream. Y'all were going to bow down to me. Y'all were going to be obedient to me. Well, they didn't like that. And then he had another dream, right, with the sheaves, the corn, and he's like, and the sun and the moon, which indicated his mom and his dad too. And so his brothers really didn't like him. One, he was quick to tell them about his dream, how they were going to bow down to him. Two, he was given a coat of many colors because Jacob favored him. Why did Jacob favor him? Do you remember? He was Rachel's son. That's right. And now Rachel had a second kid, right? What was his name? Benjamin. That was Joseph's full brother. And so we're going to hopefully hear a little bit about him tonight. But he was really young in the past, you know, when his brothers sold him. Because he went to find them, because Jacob sent him like, hey, go check on your brothers. You know, they're probably at their partying, you know, go check on them. Well, when they saw him coming, they devised a plan to throw him in a pit and get rid of him. They were going to kill him to start with, but then they said, I will just sell him. So they sold him to some Ishmaelites, and they took him down to Egypt and sold him to Potiphar. And so the last few Wednesdays, we've talked about how Potiphar elevated him in his house. Potiphar's wife made a false accusation. He got thrown in prison. And then the prison guard, the keeper of the prison, was like, this guy's really smart and wise. So he put him over all the prisoners and the day-to-day activities. And then the butler and the cupbearer find out that he could interpret dreams. And years later, after he remembered when Pharaoh had a dream and no one could interpret it, he's like, oh, I remember that there's this little Hebrew guy in jail, and he can interpret dreams. And what he said did come to pass. So Pharaoh calls Joseph. Joseph comes in, and he interprets the dream. And he goes, look, you're going to have 7 years of plenty. And you're going to have 7 years of famine. That's what your dream means. But he didn't just stop there. He goes, and here's what you can do. You need to find a wise man so that they can store up during the 7 years of plenty and have it so when the famine strikes hard, you'll have food to give to your people. And Pharaoh's like, well, I think I found the wise man. And so he appoints Joseph as second in command. The only person with authority higher than Joseph in all of Egypt is Pharaoh. Oh, this thing's right. Wait. How about that? All right. I'll try not to move.
It's not like
So, I'm kidding. So that's where Joseph is now. He's at the top, right? They did take in a lot of the grain and stored it, and now the famine's going to hit. That's really bothering me. I can hear it. But the famine is going to hit. Here, let me try this. Oh, no, that's fine. I'm just trying to get this where it won't rub. I'll do my best. So tonight we are in chapter 42. Let's see here. Chapter 42, that is on page 60. All right. Let me see. I think I've already covered all of this here. Now remember, God had made promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And we talked about those. But when you look at the sons of Jacob, were they a godly sort of brothers? They were not. Remember, they had sold Joseph into slavery. They were the ones that went and tricked Shechem and those people, and when they got circumcised, went in and slaughtered them. So they were not the most holy of people. Reuben, who was the firstborn, he decided to sleep with his father's concubine, Bilhah, which was not good. A lot of people think that was an attempt to kind of overthrow his father's authority. And then Judah had married a pagan woman. He's also the one that suggested the sale of Joseph. And that's the one where his two sons were wicked and God slew them because they would not be obedient. And then we had the episode with Judah and his daughter-in-law, if you will. So these boys are not obedient. And if God's going to make a nation out of them, a holy nation, a chosen people, He knows He's got to do some work on this. So I want you to see that all of this, God knows what's going to happen. And He is going to make sure that He maintains His righteousness, which means when He makes a covenant, He's going to keep it no matter what, because He cannot lie. If He lies one time, He loses His righteousness. So He cannot do that. And so we see Joseph being taken into slavery. Do you think God knew that was going to happen? Do you think God may have had something to do with that? Do you think God orchestrates things that His will is done? That Moses was put in the basket? That David's the one that slew the giant? See, God knows what His will is. And His will is the glory of His Son. That His Son will be glorified. And so all of this is for Jesus. All of it. It's all about Jesus. Never forget that. So there's work to be done. Let's read the first 5 verses in chapter 42. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. So we see that the famine has struck pretty hard, even up in Canaan. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. So Jacob and his 11 sons that remain, the famine has hit them. I imagine they survived on what they had as long as they could, but then Jacob's saying, look, we're running out. I hear there's corn in Egypt. You got to go get some. And I can imagine the brothers like, all right, let's go. And he is not Benjamin. Benjamin's going to stay with me. They were selling it. That is correct. They were not going to give it away. Now, why do you think Jacob didn't want to send Benjamin? He's already lost one son. Okay. It was Rachel's other son, right? That's right. It's the only living son of Rachel that Jacob knows about. So who do you think probably gets the preferential treatment now? Benjamin, right? Also, do you think at this point, because this is like 20 years later after Joseph's gone, do you think Jacob might know the characteristics of his sons? The 10 rowdy ones, if you will. And he's like, look, although I can't prove what happened when Joseph, I'm sure he was like, I know my sons are disobedient. And I don't want any mischief. That's the word that was used here. That mischief may fall on his son Benjamin. That's why he didn't send him. You know, he's like, I'm not sending this son with him because who knows what will happen. So, but just some speculation on my part there. So the 10 sons traveled down to Egypt. Let's read 6 through 17. This is a great story, by the way. It's really easy to read and to understand. So there's not a lot of deep secrets and stuff. It's just, I mean, this would make a great movie, I think. All right. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren And he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies. To see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said unto him, Nay, my Lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We are all one man's sons. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you. Or else by the life of Pharaoh surely ye are spies. And he put them all together into ward 3 days. So he recognizes his brothers. Why didn't they recognize him, you think? All right, so he was dressed like an Egyptian, right? Yeah, he may have had some of that eyeliner on. And yeah, he spoke another language, right? You'll find out he has an interpreter so that they can understand what he's saying. And he may have been bald. I don't know, but back then that would have been custom. Yeah, he would have been dressed like an Egyptian leader. Do you think he looked different? From 17 years old to, 37? He might look a little bit different, hadn't he? But anyways, they did not recognize him. And so he tests them 4 times when he says, You're spies. You're spies. 4 times he's like, You're spies, right? Now, if you're these 10 brothers coming from Canaan, and you're in the land where they're fed, they're healthy, and the leader that's there before you is saying, You're spies, how would you feel? No, I'm not. Honestly, I am not. I am not a spy. Do you think they felt a little uncomfortable? I think they did too. I think they felt a little bit uncomfortable. And on top of that, he speaks with them harshly. Like I'm sure he had the furrowed brow and had an accusatory look about him. But I think inside, he was feeling compassion for him too. But he was hiding it because them coming to him in Egypt and him being a man of power and they coming in bowing down, do you think he remembered the dream that he had?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, the dream is being fulfilled. The dream is being fulfilled. Let me be obedient to my God. Let me do, as he wants me to do. But he also knew if the dream's being fulfilled, it said the sun and moon too. So the intention is probably for my whole family to come here. And who do you think he really missed? His brother. His real, not half brother, his full brother, right? I'm sure he missed him. So Joseph says, look, one of you can go back and get your younger brother. The rest of you are going to stay in prison. And if you bring the brother back, I'll know you're not spies and everything will be good. And he threw him into the prison, right? So that's kind of ironic. He threw them in prison. They threw him in the well. I don't know if there was a little bit of flesh in Joseph kind of coming out, but I'm just like, he had to smile at least a little bit like, you throw me in a well again, Anyways, that would be the flesh in him. I'm sure he denied it. But you'll find out, his intention was not to hold them all. He knew that. He just got them there, and then he's like, look, I'll hold one of you. The rest of you go back and get your brother, because he really wanted to see his brother. And he knew that ultimately what was going to happen here. All right, verse 18 through 24. Any questions on that or any comments? Okay. And Joseph said unto them the third day, this do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your houses. But bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, we are verily guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child? And you would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. And he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes. So they watch him. He has Simeon bound up and put back into the prison, and they're released to go back. But he hears the conversation that they're having when all this is happening. They're like, God's taking it out. He saw what we did. But, so he keeps only one brother. Now, the idea here is, if the 9 of you don't return with your brother, that younger one, Simeon's going to die. He'll die. So that was the indication there. And the brothers start feeling like this is retribution for what we did to Joseph. They were feeling like, it was being put back onto them. And Joseph heard them, and he saw their remorse, that they felt sorry for doing that. They heard their brother. It says here, we didn't see it in the beginning when they sold him, but here it says, it appears that when they threw him in the well, he was like, please don't leave me here. Please don't let me die here. Please don't leave me. And they left him. His anguish. He was crying for his life, like, let me out of here. So, yeah, they're really, really feeling it now. And so he wept, but he didn't weep in front of them. He went out the room, wept, come back. So, because he didn't want them to know who he was yet. 25 through 28. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. And they laded their asses with the corn, and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, my money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, what is this that God hath done to us? So, I think Joseph knew what he was doing. He's like, hey, I got, grain in your sacks. Go ahead and take it back when you go get your brother. But then he's told, on the side, he goes, put the silver back in the sacks. Now, the first guy that's feeding his ass, he looks in there and he's like, hey, my silver's in here. Them idiots. I'm imagining that. And the other brothers are like, they don't make mistakes like that. The word entrapment starts coming to their mind. Like, now they can say we're thieves. And they can cut off our heads. What is this? God's really out for us. So they, do you think they're uncomfortable? Yeah, and they only see the one sack so far. And so, yeah, they're not, what is this that God hath done to us? Yeah, great. Let's go get Benjamin and go back, and then he's going to cut our head off anyway for stealing from him. It's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. All right. Let's read 29 through 38 to finish this chapter out. And they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man, who is the Lord of the land, spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, We are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said unto them, Me have you bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away? All these things are against me. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to thee. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to thee again. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in the which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. So they return to Jacob, tell him everything that has happened in Egypt. And on top of all their problems with Simeon being left behind and they're accused of spies, they found out that all the sacks had the silver in them. So Jacob's like, well, what is this? What's going on? I mean, he's probably distraught. I'd imagine he's distraught. You know, Pharaoh could come with an army and wipe them out, you know. Well, not really, because God's still got a promise to keep, don't he? See, no army would have prevailed because God had made a promise. He was grieved that he had lost Joseph, and he was already assuming Simeon's dead too. If he's in that prison, and I'm not going to send he's dead. He's as good as dead. So Reuben steps up, and he tries to assure his father, like, look, hey, Dad, let me take Benjamin. I'll go down there, and we'll make things right, and then I'll come back. He goes, no, I'm not trusting you with another son. There's already 2. I mean, every time y'all leave with one of my sons or one of my sons, I lose one. And he's like, no, I'm not going to send Benjamin. So he failed. 20 years earlier, Jacob had sent his son Joseph to go check on his brothers, where Reuben was, the eldest. And when those brothers returned, which Reuben was in the charge of, he didn't return with Joseph. And so here Reuben is, well, hey, let me take this one. No, not going to lose another one. Not going to happen. And of course, Benjamin was the last son that Rachel still had alive from what they knew. So that's where we are. That's the story. But I want to bring your attention to Psalm 105, if you will turn there with me, please. Psalm 105. It gives a little insight here into Joseph. Psalm 105 and at verse 6. And this psalm is about God and how He knows what's going on and He orchestrates things, okay? So in verse 6, O ye seed of Abraham His servant, ye children of Jacob His chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered His covenant forever, the word which He commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant He made with Abraham, and His oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, Unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of yours inheritance. When they were but a few men in number, yea, very few, and strangers in it, when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sakes, saying, Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron, until the time that his word came. The word of the Lord tried him. The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free. He made him lord of his house and ruler of all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure and to teach his senators wisdom. So that gives you a little insight that Pharaoh not only elevated him, but he was having him teach the senators and other people his wisdom, because he must have thought a lot. But it also tells you that when they sold him, he was in fetters. His feet were chained. He weren't just some casual prisoner walking. No, he was chained up. So I like that psalm that it kind of elaborates on Joseph there. Chapter 43. Any questions on chapter 42? Clear.
Is there a certain reason he chose Simeon to stay behind?
Well, he chose Simeon to stay behind. A lot of scholars say that Simeon was probably the worst of the brothers. That he was, because remember, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it him and Levi that went into Shechem's town and murdered all of them? He was, they say he was like the worst of the worst. So, maybe Joseph was like, no, you can put him in prison. Let him be the one that stays behind. But as far as like me, I don't know why, but that's just what I've read up on and studied. Most scholars say that Simeon was the worst. All right, chapter 43. Let's see. Let's read the first 7 verses. And the famine was sore in the land. And it came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto him, saying, The man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and then buy food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, You shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, which is who? Yeah. And Israel said, Wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? And they said, The man asked us straightly of our state, and of our kindred, saying, Is your father yet alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, Bring your brother down? So Jacob's like, Hey, we're running out of food again. I'm going down to Egypt, talk to that man and bring us some food. And the brothers probably looked at each other like, Is he getting old? What's going on here? Dad, he told us not to go down without our brother. And if you're not going to send Benjamin, we're not going down there. It's a waste of time. And we'll probably get killed because we got all that silver, And he goes, and then, so Jacob's like, Well, why'd you have to go and tell him you had a younger brother? What were you thinking? And they're like, Dad, he asked us very specific questions. And, we were just there to get food. We told him, yeah, we got a younger brother. We need food. And so, yeah. Does Jacob have a choice here? Really? They're going to die, to include Benjamin, if they don't get food. And so his hands are kind of tied, so I'm imagining he's a little upset, and he kind of chopped at him, like, why'd you even have to tell him you had a brother? All right, 8 through 14. And Judah said unto Israel his father, Send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou and also our little ones. I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him. If I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned this second time. And their father Israel said unto them, If it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds. And take double money in your hand. And the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. So Judah takes the initiative this time. Reuben had failed earlier, like, hey, I'll take charge, and he's like, no, I know how that works with you, Reuben. But now Judah steps up, he takes the initiative, and he goes, look, I'll take all the blame if I don't return with him. You can just lay it all on me. Whatever happens, happens. I'll take all the blame if I don't return with him, but I will return with him. Jacob finally agrees, and he goes, look, if you're going to go down there, we need to butter this up a little bit. Take some of these precious food items we have, the grain, the nuts, and the almonds, because a lot of that stuff they probably didn't have in Egypt, and he knew they would want it. And so he takes that, and he's like, fill it up, get the best. Not only that, take double payment. And on top of that, that silver that came back in those sacks, you need to take it back just in case it was an oversight. You need to explain that, you didn't steal it. And so he says, it's time for you to go on down there and to do that. He knew the risk that he may lose a third son. He knew the risk, but he really didn't have a choice. Questions?
How much time passed since they lived?
It doesn't say how much time passed. We do know that Jacob had a pretty good size team. I mean, he had all them boys. A lot of them had sons, and plus he's got the manservants, the maidservants, the cattle. I mean, he's got a lot. And if they each one had a sack of grain, of corn or whatever, I mean, it could have lasted a little while, but I'm not thinking more than a few weeks. And if you'll see, whenever he says go back, his son's like, hey, we've already been gone longer than it would have taken to come get the brother and go back. Like, we've been here a couple weeks, Dad, now you're telling us to go back. That's dangerous, So, all right, verse 15. And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, Bring these men home, and slay, and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. Now, when he says and slay, he's not talking about them. He's saying kill some animals so we'll have some food to eat. Just making sure, because when I read that, I'm like, oh, dear Lord.
See, mine says and slaughter an animal.
Yeah, it does. Mine says just slay. Yeah. Yeah, that whole object of the verb is like, verse 17. And the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house, and they said, because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time we are brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us, and take us for bondmen and our asses. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, O sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass, when we came to the inn, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. and we have brought it again into our hand. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, Peace be unto you. Fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave their asses provender. And they made ready the present against Joseph came at noon. For they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to their earth. Now, how many brothers just bowed down before Joseph? 11. Does that ring a bell? Okay. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, Is your father well, the old man of whom ye spake? Is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant our father is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother, of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, or his heart. His heart was, yearned for his brother. And he sought where to weep, and he entered into his chamber and wept there. So the brothers quickly returned to Egypt. They've got Benjamin along with him. They've got Jacob's gifts for him, the nuts, the almonds, and all the other things they were bringing. Do you think they were a little uneasy going back to face the man? Because they were thinking, we had silver in our sack. We had silver. Hope he don't remember that. Maybe he forgot it. Maybe it's not entrapment. Maybe. What else could it be? So when they get there, they're like, hey, we're here. And the steward's like, hey, the master wants to see you at his house. Do you think they grew a little more uneasy? They're like, wait, what? We met him here last time in the public. How about just, nope, you got to go to his house. So when they're going, they're like, we need to come clean. We need to let somebody know we didn't do this. So they tell the steward, they're like, look, they explain what happened. The money was in the sack, we didn't know it, and we brought it back. And that steward's like, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm the one that did it. So I can tell you, don't worry. He told them not to worry because God had given them that money. Do you think this steward that was probably very close to Joseph knew about the one true God? I think he did. I think Joseph made sure he knew. Like, look, you're going to be close to me. You got to know the one true God, not all these pagan false gods around here. So he probably did speak to him. So Simeon was returned to them to total the 11 brothers, and they were to eat with Joseph at noon. They still don't know who Joseph is, When they presented their gifts, they bowed down in obeisance, fulfilling one of the prophecies, right? It fulfilled the dream. Joseph saw his brother Benjamin and could not hold back his tears, but of course he went outside, went to his room, and he cried there, and then he came back. He composed himself. Questions? All right. Verse 31. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, Set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians, which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs. And they drank and will marry with him. So Joseph tells his men, prepare the place, prepare the food, prepare the meal, prepare the tables, right? Tells them to go out and do that. Joseph sat by himself. I mean, he's the leader, right? So he's sitting by himself. The Egyptians are on one side at a table that were there in his house, and the Hebrews were all on the left or on the other side. What marveled the men? What were they marveled at? The order that they were sitting in. How did he know who was the youngest and the oldest? I mean, he's like, Reuben, sit here. You sit here. Sit here. I mean, they arranged them. And they got to be like, did one of y'all tell somebody that? So what would you be thinking if you were them brothers? God still got his eyes on us. Just, yep. My last meal. So he had them seated according to their births, from firstborn to the youngest. You think they're a little uneasy still? Yeah, oh yeah. You ever knew the truth about something and somebody was coming to tell you what they did, but you already knew? And you just, you know what, I want to watch them squirm just a little bit. Nobody does that, I know, but especially children when they're coming trying to admit something and you already know what they did. It's like, what'd you do? You did that? You think I didn't know? All right. And so they, of course, the servants would give it to Joseph, the food, and then he'd be like, all right, go give the Hebrew some food, and that youngest one, give him 5 times what you give everybody else. 5 times. A young boy's got to eat, right? Which he ain't that young anymore. I mean, but he's still a young man. Got to eat. Little favoritism going on, I think, but it was good favoritism. Them other brothers were mean. So the brothers were baffled. They were uneasy. And they were like, what's going on here? We're not in trouble for the silver. We're at the man's house. We're seated according to our birth. He's feeding us. The young guy's getting 5 times everybody else. Hey, are we in the twilight zone? Or what's going? They were probably like very confused. What was supposed to be simple, they go down there, buy some grain, and go back home originally. Now it's turned into this whole drama with things going on, and they're like, well, this is divine intervention. I mean, God's doing something. I mean, only God would know this stuff. And so they're like, are we going to die? Are we living? Is he happy with us? Or is he happy with just the one guy down there? Or so they are very unnerved. They are very unnerved. That's what I got for tonight. Go ahead. That's what I was doing next. Questions?
Does anybody know why Judah took the responsibility for Benjamin?
She asked, why did Judah take the responsibility for Benjamin?
Because he's the one who originally wanted to sell Joseph.
He was. He did want to originally. He was the original one that said, let's sell him. Why just waste him? Let's sell him and get some money, right? So, all right. Other questions?
Do you think there's any, and I don't know if there is on this, it's just a thought I had, is there any symbolism in what Judah did and in Judas? You know what I'm saying? He sold Jesus pretty much for silver.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I didn't know if there was in the names were different, but was there any kind of meaning in the name or something like that? I don't know. It was just a thought. It may not be.
No, well, the only thing I saw, and of course I couldn't find the scripture to back it up. So a lot of times if I hear something and I can't find scripture,
Well, me, I haven't had time.
but he threw him into jail for 3 days. And some people say that he was in the well for 3 days. So I went back and looked and I'm like, well, I didn't see that. I didn't, unless there's somewhere else in the Bible it says, Joseph was in the well for 3 days, but I searched, I couldn't find it. So I don't know. And as far as the symbolism with Judah and Judas, I mean, they both involve silver, selling, but yeah, I don't know. Any other questions? What do y'all think is going to happen next week? All right. Where's the sun and the moon? Right?
He's gonna volunteer to do something.
Who?
Judah.
Judah's going to volunteer? Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see, right? Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for your word. Lord, we thank you for having great men write down these great words so